Welcome back. So we're finished, almost. We've taken it off our loom and we've twisted our fringe. We have not trimmed it off yet. We're going to do that afterwards because you get a cleaner cut when you do it that way. We've got some loose ends, you know, from where you joined the new shuttles, and we're also going to trim those off after we've wet finished it. Wet finishing allows your yarn to relax and settle into its new structure. This is its new home, and you kind of have to give it a bath in order to relax everything. It's going to make your scarf softer, it's going to make your weaving more cohesive, and you're just going to be pleased with it if you wet finish. Now if you weave with something like cotton, you're going to get some shrinkage. But with wool, you're just going to kind of get it's all just going to fit together better. I wove a scarf with one of our new yarns, Estrelita, for my sister, and when I took it off the loom and felt it for the first time, I thought, oh my goodness, this is terrible. This is not what I wanted to have happen. And I thought, well, you haven't finished it yet, so let's give it a bath. And after I gave it a bath and let it dry, it was wonderful. So it's kind of like blocking your knitting. You need to give it a bath and let it rest into its new home. So we're going to do that. We've got some tepid water and we've got a little wool wash. And we're not going to wash it like you're washing on a washboard down by the river. We're just going to give it a gentle bath. To mix in your wool wash. And I like to hold it in half because you've got to move it up and down. So I fold it in half and I put it in the water. Push it down into the water. And you need to make sure that it all gets wet. That takes a few minutes. And I like to lift it up and kind of plunk it back down again. And we're not really, I'm not going to mess it up by doing this. Sometimes people think that their weaving's going to come apart, but it's really not. You can do this in your sink. You can do this outside. Just going to let it get nice and wet. And when you're done, you need to gather it all up and squeeze it, not wring it, no twisting, just going to squeeze the water out of it. And then we're going to roll it into a towel and get more of the water out of it. So we have this here. And we're just going to roll it up in a towel. And we're going to squeeze the water out of it. And if I was at home, I would throw this on the floor and I would step on it. You really want to squeeze it to get a lot of the water out of it. Okay, we're going to unroll it. And then you're going to hang it up. So we've got a drying rack here, and we're just going to hang it over the drying rack. And what I like to do is I like to go all along the length of it and just give it a little pull. Just pull it. That makes it nice and straight. And you do that all the way across or all the way through the length of it. And you're going to let it dry. And then you're going to trim your fringe and your woven in ends. So we're just going to leave this one here to dry. And I have another one to show you how we're going to trim up the ends. Here's a good example. This one is one that I wove a while ago On one end, I have hem stitching, and on the other end, I do not, because I forgot. So when I took it off the loom, I wasn't sure whether I'd done hem stitching or not, so that's why you keep a notebook. So when it's had a bath and it's dried, you can then come back and all these loose ends that you've left where you changed yarn in the shuttles, you can trim those off just flush with the material, because your yarn's had a chance to bloom and really kind of settle in, and it's not going to come out. You find all your ends, you know, all the ones where you wove in, you're going to trim all those off like this. And the other thing you're going to do is you're going to trim your fringe, because when you wet the yarn, the ends of your yarn get a little frizzy. So if you trim them after you wash it, it'll look better. So you would go ahead and decide how long you wanted your fringe to be. Oop, there's one more. Like that. And there's a variety of ways that you can do this. You know, some people get really technical, and they're going to measure and they're going to weight it down. You can tape it down, but I'm just going to trim it off like this, because I'm not real concerned. And as soon as you're done with this, you can wear it. So there you go. And that's how you finish it.